Tired of watching YouTube Fluke fishing videos with all their tips, but yet you're still coming home frustrated with empty coolers? Before, I spent a decade working on fishing boats with all the pros, and before I even wrote the book on simplifying fishing, I fell for the exact same marketing hype and exact same nonsense advice out there. What I did to fix this is I use a no-nonsense proven system that puts Fluke in the boat trip after trip. So in this video, I'll show you the biggest fishing mistakes most anglers never know they're making and the exact system I use to fix those mistakes and will absolutely double your catch starting today. Okay, so to understand the first step of this Fluke and ultimately fish catching system, you need to understand that your success starts before you ever get out there on the water, and it works like this. Think of fishing like baseball. Before every baseball game, the manager sets a game plan, sets their lineup, identifies the pitcher, and it's all based on the opposition. They're just not winging it. Fishing is no different. Before you ever drop a line, you need a game plan, because winging it on the water is the #1 mistake most anglers make. So here's a super simple fix, and I call it the fishing triangle system. This is a system that makes your fishing efficient and repeatable. The first point of this triangle is pre-trip planning. Before every trip, just take a few minutes to think through 4 key factors of fishing. First, you need to identify the comfort of your fish. Where will the fish feel more comfortable? In what water temperature and depth? And second will be the fish's easy access to food. Where can a fish easily ambush their prey or just find prey without burning a ton of energy? And of course, the third step is going to be protection from their own predators. Where can a fish find areas where they could feed without becoming lunch themselves? And then of course, the fourth aspect of this is water movement, not just tide, but also including the wind and how water movement affects each one of the previous 3 items. So first and foremost, you might as well just start with your weather. Know the wind direction, the wind strength. You can even check the barometric pressure that day. If the pressure is decreasing, you know a storm is coming in or you know some weather is coming in. Now, that might sound like a lot, but I built a very simple tool. It's free down below. It's called the Fish-A-Lot bot, and it literally simplifies this whole process for you. You simply just identify the area that you think you may want to go fish, and it autofills all the weather for you, and it even helps you locate certain spots via contour lines or just Google Earth. You simply plug in a few details and it'll suggest all your high probability areas, and it'll actually describe it to you and the best practices you could take in order to catch fish out of those areas. It's pretty awesome. I love it. I use it all the time. I'll link it down below if you also want to give it a try. Again, it's totally free and up to you. You know, I never really just start fishing, right? Like, you just got to take a look around. You see some birds, that's a good sign. If you see some bait, that's a good sign. Here's another big jags of bait off the bottom there. There's a little hill there. You know, just cruising around, seeing what I can find. Look at that hill, look at that structure. This is coming all the way up to 4 feet right here. That is a significant drop off. That's where we're gonna fish, stuff like that. Look, I'm in the middle of the channel here. That's only 5 feet of water, and then it drops down in about 25 feet of water, and that's great. That's what those fish really, really like. There's a fish right there, awesome. That was a nice fish. Nice little flounder. That's it, that's that spot right there. We're gonna try to flip him in. Oh, that's a nice flounder actually. He's digging me. There we go. There we go, and that's what I said, off that mylar. Oh, don't hook me, please. There we go, fish number 1, first drift. Mylar and a gulp. There you go, Fish-A-Lots, brilliant. First flounder of the day, not a bad one. I keep them all. Throw him back. Oh, and he's out of there. Came off that white mylar. I said that was going to give it a little bit of shine to it there. A small 3-inch gulp bucktail. I got pink on the bottom. We'll see which ones they prefer. But the feedback you're getting from the environment is absolutely essential for the second step of the fishing triangle system to work, and it works like this. You're already out there on the water, and now what you need to do is observe and execute your previous plan. You're not just going blindly to the spot you identified in the first step in that planning section and start fishing. What you want to do here is take your time. As you approach your first spot, take a look around. See if you can find signs of life that indicate that what you came up with in your game plan is actually going to be a good fishing location. If something's off in your game plan, well, you could pivot long before you start fishing. Remember what Mike Tyson said, probably one of the greatest quotes of all time. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. There's a good one. There's a good one right there. He just laid on it, that one. Another nice fish there. I'm not keeping any of them, so if they get loose, I'm not too worried about it. Ah, they got the pink. That's exactly what I thought. That pink should do pretty good, I would think. There we go. Nice little fish again. Gotta love it. All right, off he goes. He hit off that pink shine gulp right there. So I got one on the white, one on the pink. Flounder are actually a pretty peculiar fish when it comes to this. So you really do want to pay attention. That gulp is all bit up, but it's going to stay on there. All right, again, I'm going to go back up there. I was getting a lot of bites. I'm going to head back up there. And again, I'm not going to fool around with just keep on drifting. I'm actually going to hit these spots that are producing fish, and I'm gonna keep running over them. I'm gonna run over them again and again and again until I stop catching fish. Here's another thing with these flounders sometimes, and it just feels like a little bit of extra weight. It feels like spongy weight. So you got weight to it, but it's moving weight. Just set the hook. If it's a piece of seaweed, who cares? And if it's a flounder, then wonderful. So let me show you something right here. So this is just a 4-rod owner hook right here. Okay, just a dropper loop knot, nothing too fancy. And of course, I'm gonna have my bucktail there. But what I wanna do is I wanna add a little bit of flash here because there's so much bait, so much silver sides around that. It really does give a little bit of flash once you get it to depth. So this is way too long. I don't want it that long. I just want it covering the hook so that the gulp has enough room to swim. Shorten up that mylar, so now the hook and the mylar, look at that, that's a world of difference right there. So now when I put that gulp bait on, the gulp's gonna stick out here and that mylar is gonna give that flash. And that's just a quick modification to really get you some more fish. So we're gonna put gulp on this one, gulp on this one, I'm gonna go pink, and we're gonna go white on this one because white has really been doing the trick. So pink shine on this one. Put that hook in there, there we go. Pink shine right there. That's a good looking piece of bait. So this is the white twister tail instead of the grub or swimming minnow. I don't know. I can't remember all the different names of everything all the time. But I'll put a link and everything I'm using in the description below. Make sure it's hooked up straight. That was not. So I'm going to rehook it. Do not leave your lures baited, not straight. That will cost you a lot of fish. There we go. So that's straight. Mylar comes over the hook. There you go. That is a good looking piece of bait. Now let's see what we get here. There you go. I got another one right there. He's biting it, biting it. A lot of little flounder. Oh, there's a good one there though. That's not a little one. I love when a plan comes together. All right, let's switch. The gulp seemed to work. Nice flounder. We're gonna flip them up. Blah, 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 blah. Another nice one. All right. We had some success off that pink, and I said, you know what? Let's do it again. Look at that. That's what he came off of. There we go. If he flips out, he'll flip out over the bow. There you go. Another nice one. I mean, you know, nothing groundbreaking, but man, a lot of fun. I go one more wrap. There we go. All right, let's get back down there. This is where we've been catching some fish. And I just want to show you, that fish hit right as we came across that rip. Once again, I mean, the rip's right there in front of me. As soon as we came across that rip, that's when it hit. And that is how we're catching all these fish. I'm using my electronics to kind of put me in the area. But once I'm in the area, I'm just using my own knowledge here of fishing. And there's going to be another hole coming up right here. And that has been the ticket. We have just been doing really good. There's another one right there. So they're feeding pretty good. And there's a lot of small fish down there. So we're gonna have to weed out the little ones. They hit the hardest, right? They're gonna be the most aggressive to your baits. There's another one right there. That one did not hit hard, and that's a bigger fish. The bigger fish typically don't hit as hard. So, oh, that one thought he was a bigger fish. And take a look. This one came off that mylar. Come up here, buddy. All right. That one came off that mylar combo there. I'm just see, look, I'm right up against that current right there. That's where we're gonna catch another one. Another nice flounder. I'll take these all day, every day, especially kayak fishing. I'm not keeping any today, so we'll throw him back. Off he goes. Make sure everything's set up. New fresh gulp bait. There you go, there's another one right there. Oh, I just missed him. Oh man, I just missed him. We just came up, we're right in that hole. That one, that would have been about that same size fish. I'm just controlling where I'm drifting with the rudder here. This is actually good drift without the trolling motor on, just 0.6, 0.7. That tide's dying out now a little bit. We're gonna get into slack tide here soon. Now, I hope all this information is really beneficial to you and helping you build your confidence for your next fishing trip. And if you literally want me in your pocket every time you go fishing, I've literally published the most comprehensive fishing book out there. It's like your field manual for everything you need to know about fishing, and I'm super proud of it. Inside, you'll find everything you need to know, covered with illustrations like how to tie your knots, how to read the weather, how to read topographical maps in order to find your fish using contour changes, what baits to use and when, and especially what to avoid at all costs. I'll drop a link in the description below. I know you're going to enjoy it. And so this is what I mean by just running over those spots over and over again. You see my track lines right there. I had a couple of spots on the middle just because I was trying to hit a couple of those holes, but I've just been massacring the same hole over and over again, and we were catching some nice fish out of it. I don't leave fish to find fish. That is a fundamental cardinal rule of fishing. Again, I'm running back up. I'm going to hit that same drift. I'm going to keep running over them until they tell me they're not interested anymore. Oh, that's a nicer fish right there. Holy cow, that's a nicer fish. There we go. This is probably the one we've been looking for here. This might be a netter. Let's get my net out here. Oh, oh yeah. That's a good fish right there, fish a lot. Sit on that top mylar and the smaller bait. Let's spot lock right here. Woo, that's a thick flounder. He has been eating some nice peanut bunker. For the camera, there he is laying on the dock. That's a big fish. All right, now he's gonna freak out when I grab him. Beautiful flounder. Yeah, that's what we're after, this size. All right, well, let's let him go. Now, what I was going to show you was we are right on target for that spot right there. There's a hole and then a choke point, and that's exactly where we caught that fish, right as we were going into the hole. So right on that depth change. That's what these flounder absolutely love. Oh, I love fishing. Love it. All day, every day, all day, twice on Sunday. I'll take it. I love it. I catch a fish. I love it even more. The final part of the fishing triangle system is what I call repeat success. When you catch a fish, stop for a moment and take note of exactly what worked for you so you can repeat it and stay on the bite all day long. You already went through your pre-trip planning where you identified spots you thought were going to be really productive for fish. Then you observed and are now executing your plan, and you've noticed that there are fish in the area, and now you actually caught a fish. The plan works. So now what you do is you caught that fish fishing that one very small hole that you found, and then you're just going to hit that hole again, and you're going to make another mental note. How fast were you drifting? What was the depth you were fishing in? Were you using a big profile bait or a small profile bait? You just want to hone in on what triggered those bites. But you want to hit that spot over and over again because that's where you had success. There's no use keep drifting because you already found active feeding fish. There we go. Look at that, just turned on the camera. He smashed it. Keep the pressure on. Oh yeah. That's exactly how you don't net a fish. That's a nice big flounder right there, folks. That is a nice big day flounder. But there you go, that is a nice, that's a eater, that's a keeper right there, beautiful. Whew. Boy, nice fish, that's what we're after, beauty. There he goes. This is our same drift line. I have not really, I experimented with a couple of different holes, but overall that drift line has been working really, really good. Oh, we're on already, just got to bump smaller fish. There he goes. There he goes, just trapped in there, Oh, bigger fish maybe. We're just gonna not right in the bottom of the mouth. Come here, bud, I'll let you go. You gotta open your mouth first though. There we go. Another nice little flounder there. Hello, fish a lot. All right, off he goes to eat another peanut bunker. I missed the hooks out there. Wasn't paying attention, but another little guy. Just fish after fish after fish here, fish a lot. I want to show you guys something else too here, by the way. When guys unhook fish, they typically like squeeze right here, and that's just so bad for these flounder because that's where like all their organs are. So just lay them on the gunnel or your chair or whatever the case might be. There we go. And this way I'm not squeezing them as I'm trying to get the fish off. Now, fortunately, he landed on a towel. It's not so bad. There's another fish. Throw him back and let's get back on the drift here. I didn't get the hooks out on that one. Little guy. Caught him right in this drift line here. So again, I'm going to show you how oh boy, that's a little baby. Okay, I'm going to lay him right on my lap here. Don't want to injure the poor little guy. There we go. Off he goes. Now, let me show you something here. Now, I got the wind against the tide. Take a look at that water right there. Take a look at all that. That's white water there. There's a bunch of tide rips right in here. You see, there's the wind's blowing against the tide. There's a hole right here, and there's a couple of humps right around the hole there. So you got shallow water and deep water right here, and that's what's causing all this mess in here, and that's where those fish are coming out of, and that's where that fish came out of. Now, don't be afraid to cast, because I got wind against the tide, and I got a really weird drift right now. So I'm fishing in 8 feet of water, and I'm gonna work this thing down into about 20 feet of water. These fish are in super shallow water. I mean, I casted, I've been there about 2 feet of water. Look at him just eating my lure right there. There he goes. Dragged him again out of virtually no water. And they've been just banging it. Well, there you go, another nice flounder. Again, that fish came so shallow. I think there's some bigger fish in there for sure. There he goes. Again, off the top of that mylar. I'm gonna have to rebait this worm up here. See how that changed? Before we were getting them out of those deep holes, and now we're getting them all out of shallow water. You know, preferences change of these fish. Tide by tide, the wind changed. The tide changed. I actually cast it up there and caught that fish. Just doing this right here. See, I cast upwind of me here, and right now I'm in 4 feet of water. Oh, I just got another one right there. Oh, that's a fish. Holy cow, that's a big fish. I thought that was some seaweed. That was a fish in the current there. Sidewinder, flounder. That's all right, I keep them all. Now, he went for the top hook and he got the bottom one. So there you go, we were dragging that bait into the depths. There we go, see, we just figured them out in this shallow water right there. Another flounder. And you gotta love it. I'm gonna cast into this shallow area here. You can see the rip currents up here. I'm gonna go back. That fish came out of 4 feet of water as we dragged it into 13 feet of water. And that's what they're doing. They're using those drop-offs. That wind and the tide are just silly right now. All right, now we're in 12 feet. So I'm gonna come back up here. I'm gonna cast in the shallows. I'm gonna drag myself back into the depths. And look at that rip right there. That's where we're gonna be fishing, this rip current from the shallows into some of these holes. And these flounder are just gonna be laying in there. Look at that, look at that water. That's where I'm catching those fish out of. That swirling water where the structure and the wind and the current are causing that cross current. That is where those fish were laying and hitting, and that's where I was able to get them. Now I'm going to drag this now. So now you know a very simple and repeatable fishing system that you could use to catch tons and tons of fluke or really any fish you're after. The problem is, if you don't really know how to rig your baits and your lures correctly so that when you do find the fish, you're presenting something in front of them that they're willing to bite, none of this is going to work. So check out this video right here where I show you exactly how to rig your baits and lures to catch tons of fish once you actually find them. So thanks for tuning in, Fish Lots. I'll see you out there on the water.